Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show reviews. I am Jen Thépuppét, your resident Fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And today we're going to be talking about Episode 7 of Clarice, coming to you from CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. And the episode is entitled Ugly Truth. So, was it good? Was it bad? And should you be watching? Stick around because I have opinions. Clarice, Episode 7, and it's entitled Ugly Truth. And it, let's just be honest, does cover some pretty tough stuff this week. It's yet another case of the week. This time, it's about a cold case that's reopened in relation to a recently discovered body in the wall of a house. Which, by the way, must be pretty effed up to be living in a house and find a dead body in your wall that's been entombed in your wall. But that's what happened. The body of a 13-year-old boy is found in the walls of a house, and DNA matches it to yet another a cold case from, like, I think it's I want to say something like 12 or something years ago. So, yeah, that brings in VICAP because it's big. You know, it's one of these big, high-profile cases, and that's sort of the thing that VICAP does. And at the same time, you get Ardelia, who also works in the cold case department. Once their DNA match comes back, she gets to go out on her first field assignment with Clarice to go in the field and find out more about the original cold case and how it may or may not relate to the new one. Of course, Clarice thinks so because there's a lot of common features to both of the murders and how they were performed and everything. It was really a good time for the two of them. I was interested to see whether or not Clarice would ever go into the field with her friend and roommate, and she totally does, and it works out really nicely. But I'm getting ahead of myself. At the same time, Clarice I was wondering, were they gonna hide the fact that Krindler knows this lawyer guy? And they don't. Immediately she's like, oh, who is this guy? Oh, he's on a magazine. That's the dude. That's totally the dude that did that. And everyone's like, oh, are you sure about that? To be fair to them, she was kind of drugged up and everything, but the guy's he's not imaginary. She has DNA evidence and crap underneath her skin, her fingernails. And we also know that Ardelia knows that somebody's trying to keep that DNA evidence away from everything. So we know some conspiracy shit is going on within the Bureau itself. They have the resources to cover this guy up. And now we have Krindler, who knows this guy and is meeting with him for the divorce thing. And of course, the good thing about this episode, which, by the way, I loved. Really like this episode. I think it was excellent. It hits on in so many different ways, and I'm trying. It's hard to kind of keep up all the ways it does things correctly. For one, it delves into the whole conspiracy thing, and they've been kind of been unrolling this thread just a little bit at a time, and they advance the conspiracy angle. So now we have a face to at least part of the conspiracy. We've had the corporation. Now we have a face to put to it. And we see exactly how he's going to exert his power in order for the conspiracy angle to actually mean something. And in this case, it's to get to Krindler to offer a carrot and to offer a stick. The carrot being, hey, you get your kids in your divorce from your crazy, not crazy, but your alcoholic ex-wife or, soon-to-be ex-wife. Or you don't, you take your team off of the river murders and you get your kids, don't take them off, and you go to prison for obstruction of justice and tampering with evidence and all that stuff. So Krindler's kind of in a weird situation, which is unfortunate because, he's seems to be a good dude. Again, I don't know, the Silence of the Lambs follow-ups that well, but apparently he was a real big villain and a douche in the other ones. But in this one, he's a pretty stand-up dude, actually. He's got some stuff going on at home, but at the same time, he's running a pretty high-profile, unit within the FBI, and they're all, a guy gets murdered under his watch. I mean, he's got pressure, and yet, he performs as a pretty good director or team lead. and now his back is up against the wall. It's really unfortunate for him. But the conspiracy continues. At the same time, you have this cold case, which in and of itself was very interesting. It's very interesting. Between Ardelia and Clarice, Clarice finds, she finds out what I would consider to be the most important evidence. But Ardelia's, demonstrates she had got some kind of instinct for this stuff out in the field. The whole thing, who killed these kids? Is this a serial killer? What's going on? And the profiling that Clarice can do, followed up with just good old-fashioned detective work by Ardelia, and their ability to interview and really track down, her instinct that there might be some connection to an old case. Let's get some DNA evidence. She talks about mitochondrial DNA, all that fun stuff. Really kind of opens this whole case up. At the end of the day, it's actually a fairly simple case. It's just, you have to be looking in the right place at the right time and in the right way. And Clarice is able to make the connection that the woman who, the woman we think is just some innocent neighbor, is actually, somebody, her or her son killed the boys. And the son, where's the son? He drops off the face of the earth. Or where's the dad? All this other stuff. And it doesn't take much time for, Clarice makes a leap and realizes, hey, this woman's husband, her younger husband, actually, it's not her husband, it's her son. And her son's the one that's doing the killing. Spoiler alert. I mean, if you're watching these reviews, I'm spoiling. But it's the son. And the fact that it's not a big mystery, a huge mystery that's hard to find. I mean, pretty much if you're watching probably about halfway through this episode, you kind of realize who's the bad guy and why they're the bad guy and whatever. But the reasoning is actually very good. That the mother, in her grief and loneliness and everything, becomes, kind of presses her son into becoming a surrogate husband, and the impact that has on keeping that secret, and why he decides to share it, because he's hurting, and then he has to kill them because he loves his mom. He don't want her to go to prison. He doesn't want his life to be ruined, but they're also his friends. So in murdering them, he also kind of, shows some tenderness and everything. It's all fucked up. Let's call it is. The mom's fucked up. In her fucked upness, she fucks up her son, and he's all messed up, and he's torn up and been out of shape about it. And it's the toll of it, and the fact that he's going to go to prison, or forever, before these murders it sucks. But also, he totally did it because it happened. If someone has to pay for these things, but also to know he's just not some crazy like Buffalo Bill. He's not just some. I mean, even Buffalo Bill wasn't. There's reasons for his stuff, but he didn't just murder those boys because there's some kind of weird psychopathic thing with him. He was trying to do it to protect somebody, but also to protect himself, but also to try to escape. And he asked, like, why couldn't y'all help me? Why couldn't y'all come and save me? And it's, it's a big win for Ardelia and Clarice, but also kind of, sort of showing a spotlight on the fact that, these people don't become killers, because they are just wanting to become killers. If things are happening, and when we fail to protect the most vulnerable, bad things can happen. Bad things can result. All very, very nice. Also, I love the one of the things this episode does really well is it's exploring the characters. It's very, again, slowly just, slowly rolling out these little bits of information. So, Murray, the old head in the crew, looks like he's gone bald because of stress. And you wonder, like we saw before, he has porn mags in his desk. Like, oh, he's just a dirty old guy and he's about all this other stuff. And no, we find out he's doing it for a reason, because when he was a teenager, his younger sister got kidnapped out from in front of their house, and she was never seen again. And he heard that maybe they had seen her in a porn, and he's been looking through porn to find his sister. Crazy stuff, man. Just like there's more to it. Dude was beside himself this entire episode. Totally, he's a he could be a crusader. Maybe on other cases not. He's a crusader in this way. And then you also have, Thépuppét, who we can see he says like, oh, something's wrong with with Clarice at the beginning, but he's got her back. He believes her. This guy, he's something's wrong with him. And then Esquivel, being a consummate professional, having to deal with all the racist crap that that Murray was saying, to be honest. So everyone's not all good. Everyone's not all bad. There's also, everyone's complex. That's the point. Hey, everyone's complex. I like to see that in the way they interact and work together to get the job done. I like to see Ardelia shine. Like seeing her aunt, and apparently she is of Ethiopian descent. So to see how that plays out, there was just a lot of really good character work done in this episode, and a satisfying conclusion to the mystery, and setting up more stuff down the future, because Krendler does shut down the whole river murder thing. But we know Clarice isn't giving up, and I don't think really anyone else is. Everyone's wondering, why would he shut this down? So I can't wait to see how they unravel that and arrive at the conclusion that he's being leaned on. I'm really looking forward to that, actually. So, great episode. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait to see more Clarice. Clarice is it's a quality show. I know there's a lot of haters and stuff that want to talk crap about this, and because it's not Hannibal and Alex Kurtzman. You know what? Fuck all that noise. This is a great show. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Hope you guys are too. So, what did you guys think of this episode? And what do you think of my review? Why don't you let me know down in the comments? And you can always hit me up by email, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, or on Twitter at supernotfunnys1. We can chop it up about Clarice, talk about where this show is going. And hey, are you subscribed to the Super Not Funny Show? You're not? What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Join the Super Not Funny Show family. And while you're down there, hit the notification bell so you will know when we drop new content. And we're doing that every week. New reviews, new reactions, anything else that floats our pop culture boat. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks for joining me for this review. Come back next week for yet another review of the show Clarice. Until then, I have been Jen Thépuppét, your resident Fabricant and commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.